Before we start delving into the complexities of IT roles and technologies, it's worth getting to grips with some key IT principles so as to build up a solid foundation for our discussion with all IT people. And that's what this section is all about. Firm foundations. In many ways, this is going to be your most important piece of knowledge. A model upon which you can actually hang all new concepts that you might come across. And the great thing about it, as I said, it's actually fairly simple. The knowledge you gain here will help you better understand all the terms and concepts that you're about to come across on job specs and resumes. How utterly cool is that? Yes, there is a model, a trade secret known only to us within technology, which I am now about to impart to you. Just this simple section should immediately prove invaluable if you're going to be involved in tech recruitment on any scale. Now, this should provide some solace to any of you technophobes out there, that you can actually carry around with you a very simple, neat model to base all your discussions upon when you speak to anyone from IT. So, whenever you look at anything that is a computing device, here is the model. Whenever you look at anything to do with IT, be it a laptop, tablet, smartphone, the large bank of servers which you might see at the heart of your organization, or the IT system that controls an Airbus A380 in mid-flight, the first thing we need to understand is a conceptual model of IT. And if we keep that in our mind, it will help us to discuss any of those IT systems. Isn't that cool? So here it is, a great starting point. As you can see, our model looks a little like the sort of cake that Grandma used to bake. The cake has 3 layers. At the base is this thing called hardware. And of course, on top of this are 2 further layers, but they are software layers. And that's it. Wow. We can facilitate our understanding of IT using this simple 3-layer model. IT landscapes, IT devices, and IT concepts. So this is big. Now we're going to be delving into each of these, of course, in a lot more detail. But at the outset, let's briefly take a first swoop across all of these now. So once we have our hardware in place, the first thing we need to do is install that first layer of software. And this initial layer of software exists primarily to bring your hardware to life. That layer of software you may have come across, of course, it's known as the operating system. So all IT systems will have an operating system, as we shall soon see. Now, the operating system does many things, but it is useless in the eyes of you and me, the consumer, because really it doesn't seemingly get involved in all the good stuff we do every day. Sending emails, watching a movie, listening to songs, matching candidates to jobs, all of these are not done through the operating system. That top layer is a different class of software completely, and that carries out the useful stuff in our life. So you and I, as users, we're actually far more excited and eager to start playing with the application software in our life. So our model says that hardware is the physical stuff, the physical, tangible layer. The operating system makes your hardware come to life and it makes it usable. So it runs in the background of your phone, your tablet, or your mainframe, big machine, keeping the whole thing running. Examples of operating systems, as I've just mentioned, are Microsoft Windows, Apple's iOS, Android, and Linux. And these are terms you should become familiar with if you're in IT recruitment. So you and I can't actually write a letter with operating systems such as Windows. You can't draw a yacht with Linux. And you can't match a candidate to the perfect job with just iOS. All this useful stuff is the realm of applications. And you've heard of these. Microsoft Word, Facebook, Instagram, Chrome, Excel, these are all application software. And that is a group of software that we leave to the worldwide community of developers. to create for us, because they create these exciting applications that you and I use in our personal and business life. More about how our companies decide on which applications to use later on. Now, you might already be phasing out a little at the sound of operating systems. After all, how does this come into IT recruitment? Well, let me remind you. Have you ever heard of a Linux administrator or a Windows administrator? This is the layer that those people look after, and more about what they do later on.